We're back with Bob Hiam, President and CEO of Hawaii Medical Service Association.
Bob, in your career, that you've been in the same company for a long time. I mean, I don't know if that sounds bad.
A few decades.
Longer than I've been alive. But what's your advice for other people that, on how to build a career like that, to stay at the same company and be excited to go there every day after, 30-something years?
Well, one, you've got to believe in the company. You've got to believe in what they do. And the company culture kind of has to fit you. And, while HMSA is a large company by Hawaii standards, I grew up a lot with that company, and it does have a real family orientation. And so, as I said, if I look around and counted up all my friends, the majority of them are probably people that from HMSA, and a lot of them were about in the same age range and kind of grew up in the company together. So, I think that could happen in any company. But I would say, and I really believe, that our management staff operates a lot as a team. There really isn't backstabbing. There really isn't, I really got to cover myself, because somebody that comes in like that doesn't fit in and probably won't last very long. So it's just finding the right feel. If you go into a company and you don't feel that, or you go into a company and you say, this thing is going to turn over in the next 5 years because I'm looking at the ages of this. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunity, and then I can make an impact. I mean, those are the things that I think you need to look for.
When you were approached to take this CEO position, were you prepared?
Well,
what was your reaction?
Obviously outside, oh, wow, thank you. That's really great. Inside it was, boy, oh boy, I wasn't expecting this right now. I thought I had a few more years. And you switch gears and move into it quicker.
So was your predecessor preparing you? Did he give you that time to say, this is the steps that's, ahead of you. This is what I want you to do. Or this is what I want you to learn. Follow me this way.
He probably did it, but without saying that. I mean, it was, if you look at the assignments, but we are a lot different style-wise. He probably still understands and knows more about the intricacies of the healthcare business than most of us around. And he just learned things and retained them. Probably wasn't as comfortable outside. We have a very strong operating staff, a very strong chief operating officer, which allows me time to then do more out in the community and in other areas. And I think, that fits for the team that we have in there right now.
So that comes to another question, which is, how do you find the right people, and how do you sort out from, the interview process and so on when they're putting their best foot forward? How do you know these are the people you want to work with?
Well, again, I had the advantage of being there for some time and having people working with me around their capabilities. And so a fair amount of that core team has been at HMSA for some time. Our chief financial officer, though, I recruited from our competitor, and he had been there like only 1 year. Prior to that, he had been with an airline, and I had some dealings with him because we were about to become an unsecured creditor of that airline. But, he did such a straightforward, nice job of coming in and explaining why they didn't quite get to the point they were, that he would walk out there, instead of being angry that they didn't, I would say, boy, I'm glad I don't have his job. And so, when we had the opening, I sat down, talked to him, and it's been a great fit. He's great in terms of understanding the business, understanding the outside part of it as well as the inside, but also, very, very technically competent. So.
When you talked about putting a good team together so that you can actually go out and be involved in the community, is this something that your predecessor taught you, or is this something that you've always been involved in?
Well, I think that there's a pretty good corporate culture of community involvement at HMSA. It was certainly encouraged, prior to becoming CEO. I had first got involved, probably AUW was my first involvement, and it was on one of their allocation panels, which basically, is a group of 10 or 11 people that sits and looks at, based on, and we had the special education group, how we divide up what money we had and going out and meeting with those entities. So, you sort of build that community involvement, and it's certainly carried on where, I expect our senior management and people that are up and coming to show some interest and be involved in the community.
Would you say it's kind of a prerequisite for people hitting the top levels of large companies that they need to be involved with the community?
From a practical standpoint, absolutely. You probably could go along and not be involved. It's very difficult, and this is a small community, and the leaders in the business community see each other a lot and at a lot of different functions. And when it comes time to raising money for the next function, the list is pretty limited here. And so it's the same people that sit around and make the same calls and trade off depending on what it is. And I just don't imagine that if you were heading a fairly large business here and chose not to participate in that how you would ever get into network with some of these people.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.